All right, welcome back to, I think, week two of our Marseille study. We have Erin of The Witch of Saturn and Jay from Iridescent Tarot, and I'm Shanna at Sincerely Shanna D. So we are working on studying the tarot deck, or the Marseille tarot deck, and have invited you guys all along to do it with us, whoever wants to do it. And yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah, learn Marseille with Erin, Shanna, and Jay.
Yes, thank
What
you.
was what was our assignment this week? What were we supposed to be doing?
We are on week two. So we did chapters 4 and 5, which is pages 65 to 110. And then we did kind of an open spread, a deck interview, and there were a couple of like optional assignments if we wanted to. Flavor of the week, which is a single card draw, focusing on the color of that card because Marseille is all about color and numerology. And then the next one was another 3 card spread of show me the journey from where I am to where I want to be, tracking the color shift and flow of the cards. So I thought those were fun. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, that so the show me the journey one. How did you come up with that? Because I thought it was really cool.
You know what? Honestly, I was just kind of like, okay, if we're looking at flow, like that seemed like a natural, yeah, just the journey, just the flow. And it's kind of the same concept as past, present, future, but without that rigid structure. So
Cool. I loved it. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
thank
it
you.
definitely is like a past, present, future, but with like just a flow through. But also, like, I like that spin on it that's show me where I want to be because future kind of implies what's going to happen instead of it felt more like aspirational,
Yeah.
True.
right? Like,
It's a good
show me
one.
this the journey that I'm on, what I'm aspiring to kind of grow into. So I liked
Yeah,
that one.
nice.
Yeah, good work, Shanna.
Thank you.
So do we want to start talking about like our experience with reading, the experience that we had with the practice? Do we want to just start off chatting about our decks a little bit first? What do we think?
I think like the reading, I mean that's this the to me the reading is the study and then the practice of using the cards is like practicum, right? It's like
Yeah.
experiential learning through um your tarot practice, but the meat and potatoes of the study is the book. So
Do you want
I,
to go first on the spread,
what's
Aaron?
that?
Do you want to go first on that spread then?
Well, I was just going to say that I think that so this book I'm a big fan of. And I feel like this is a very good book for people who are new to tarot, for beginners through experienced readers, because it really does cover everything. Like it pulls together and ties in so much of what I've learned throughout the years, like studying tarot on my own, but in a really cohesive way. And I wouldn't say that anything so far has been something that, like, I've studied and touched on kind of everything we've gone over in the book so far, but
Hmm.
this has filled in some gaps for me. I just think it's a really, what's so, like, it just a,
Comprehensive.
yes, comprehensive overview of,
Hmm.
like, I thought that this was the best history of the tarot that I've ever read
Hmm.
Okay.
in one book.
Yeah.
And then even just like the symbolic language, it just was very, it went through and kind of covered, it checks all the boxes in a way that was very easy to read and understand.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like I felt very, like it was very affirming in that because I really enjoy the numerology and the color theory of tarot. Even when I was doing RWS, I didn't realize that was a Marseille thing. So when I was reading,
Mm.
reading that, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of already doing that, which is great. But it was kind of like, okay, which kind of helped me lean into this a little bit more. So I'm really liking this so far.
Yeah, I feel like when we were chatting about the just like our studies this week, the color and numerology was the thing that really stood out for both of you guys, where you were like super excited about getting into the meat and potatoes there. I think for me, the most exciting thing was reading about how to do an open reading. So, like in my head, I kind of just envisioned Marseille to be the color and the numerology, but I didn't really put together that the open reading style was like such a big part of it. And that's the part that I feel like I can take from Marseille study and apply to any of the RWS, which I guess, like you said, you can apply the numerology and the color too. But like the open reading, I think for me was like that big change in practice that I've been like somewhat craving and looking for that I've found here.
Yeah. I was surprised. Like I genuinely thought Marseille was more structured than RWS. That in my head, that's what I thought it was. It just felt very like boxed in sort of, and it's the exact opposite of that. So
Yes.
that's been
Yeah.
really cool to discover. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
surprising. Yeah.
it's interesting for me having learned how to do like open reading with the RWS
Mm-hmm.
and now to kind of know that like, oh, that probably originated from Marseille, from a Marseille teacher or, like the lineage, let's say rather. And so in a way, this kind of feels like I am finally getting to like the root of the history of all tarot and
Yeah.
kind of like the roots of where my practice already is and has evolved to be. So
Yeah.
I'm enjoying that. It feels very it feels like ancient and historical. And I love it.
True.
And the decks reflect that too. Like, I think none of us really picked super historical type Marseille, but there is a huge world of the historic Marseille decks that you could really fall down the rabbit hole into, like the differences between the conver and like all the different, the dodal and all these things, type one, type two. There's a whole world. And it's like if you just stick to the RWS, you don't ever feel like you get exposed to that world.
Yeah, and that is something that like already I just already knew as soon as we started the study that I was like, oh, like I'm very happy with my Bacchus deck, but like I want to have something that reflects more of a traditional Marseille deck, one of the classics to use for this, especially for the like color study, because the colors in this are so like avant-garde, let's say,
Yeah.
not traditional Marseille colors. And so that's something that like is important for it's just going to help my brain to practice with something that's more traditional that ties into what the book is teaching.
Yeah. I think that leans into, that traditional RWS, plaid back classic,
Mhm.
you get to a point of like, okay, I want to know the base so that then I can build on that even more. So
Yeah, I mean, and that's even how I was with my regular tarot practice. Like at a certain point, I was like, okay, I'm not using these decks anymore. I'm just going to read with the RWS until I feel like I can fluently read tarot. And
yeah.
that's what I did for years. And so, like, I kind of feel like I need to do that with Marseille and also like sprinkle in like my other pretty fun decks. But that's already something that I'm like, okay, if I were to start this study over, even though we're only a couple weeks in, like I would go in with a deck that reflected what is in the book.
It's almost like we get sucked in by like the pretty cute decks. They're the cool ones that are different and like a little bit funky. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, but wait, I do need them. The base version, the base model.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't realize. Like, I didn't do a lot of prep I mean, I didn't even get to look at the book until like I got it on Christmas or maybe like a week before. And yeah, I just didn't realize like, oh, like it was just one of those things that like hindsight's 2020.
So have you picked a historic deck that you're going to go for?
I've just been like looking at a few of them. It's hard because like you're saying they are all like to me when you get into that world of Marseille, it's all like the same but different. You know what I mean? Where like you
Yeah.
Yeah.
see people talk about Marseille decks and it's like this shade of yellow and this shade like this is and it's just it's I just want somebody to tell me like use this one.
Hmm. Well,
Fair.
what about the Ben-Dov one that he made to go along with the book?
Yeah, I do like that one. And because it's mass market, I will probably get it just to have to use with the book. But like I like the ones that look more hand painted,
Me too.
you know?
Well, on that vein, for full disclosure, I think I shared with Erin and Jay that I did go ahead and get Pip Speak.
Yeah.
Yay!
Um, and I know,
Oh,
I was like, I
let's
just
hear
got
it.
one back. I got the Tarot de Ozarks, so it's not here
Woohoo!
yet.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
just
I
gonna
ordered
get
that one
it.
too. Did I tell you that, Shanna?
No,
Yeah, I
that's
ordered that
awesome.
one because I watched the video that Amelia had done the walkthrough
Yep.
that Jay requested from her. And when she mentioned that she had heard the rumor that the creator may have, I panicked. I
Me
panic
too.
bought it because I was
Like,
like, I'm just buying this now, even if I don't use it till like the end of the study or whatever,
yeah,
because I don't want to, those print on demand things, if it gets pulled down, it's gone.
yeah, yep,
So
exactly. Yeah. Well,
That's
and
too funny.
I love the colors.
we're both
So,
like,
You're panic purchasing.
yeah.
yeah, I'm okay
Did,
with it. I'm okay. I'm
I'm
good
okay
go.
panic purchasing for sure if it's like a legit panic. Like,
Yeah.
did it arrive for either of you yet, or is it still like being processed and all that? Yeah.
I was
no,
gonna
mine
check
shipped.
oh,
Oh,
yours
cool.
did?
Yeah.
I don't think mine has, so I need to check my order and look at it, but I think this will
I
be it.
I have to tell you, I have not put this deck down. Like, forget my other decks. This is the deck. Since we started the study, every single day, pretty much, I've picked up this deck and used it. I love it. There's just something about it. It's like it's it speaks to me on a way that like an image that looks like this one just isn't gonna do. I don't know. It
Mhm.
just yeah.
Well, and I feel like Tarot de Ozarks, am I saying that right? De Ozarks.
Yes.
I feel like that one leans more into the freestyle of Marseille, where the other ones I feel like they're kind of that structure, which,
Yes. Yeah. I'm excited for both of you to have it.
Yeah, it's cool.
all right.
So for like the history of tarot, did you guys know all of this already going in?
Essentially, I mean, I didn't feel like there was anything groundbreaking for me on the
I'm gonna look
history
and
of
see
cards.
what I took notes on because I feel like there wasn't really anything brandy new. It says the most authentic traditional tarot is the 1760 Conver. So that might be the direction that you want to head if you're looking for the most traditional.
Well, I read that it's kind of like between that and another earlier version,
Mm.
which I don't remember the name of.
Maybe if someone knows, they can leave it in the comments.
I could find it because it's the one that my friend Jamie has.
Mm.
I can find the picture real quick.
So I also wrote down that, so this has nothing to do with Marseille, but the book said that Crowley's face from the Thoth Tarot is on the Beatles' Lonely Hearts Club
Yeah,
album. I
I
had
didn't know
no
that.
idea.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
So I guess that's my fun fact that I didn't know.
Yeah.
It's a 1709 version, a Pierre. I don't know how to say the last name.
Madine.
Madden, say it again?
I don't know if I'm saying it right. Madine.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's the first one either. I think there might be one other, but it depends on what you're going for. Because if Ben-Dov is saying most authentic traditional tarot is Conver, but like if you want the earliest one that ever existed, it might be the Matinee. I'm not sure.
It's just really hard to find a convert in the style of that I like.
Yeah. Yep.
Like I know that what is this? Who makes this? Like
Really
they
quick.
made one and it's sold out. Tarot de Marseille Heritage
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
by how do you say the name? Is it Ives? Yves, Ives Renaud,
Eves.
Eves. Maybe
Yeah.
Eves.
Eves, and how do you say Reynaud?
I think would be Renaud.
Renaud. So they made a convert deck that is completely sold out and sells for very expensive on eBay. So like I'm not doing that. Yeah, so I might just do like the CBD tarot.
Yeah.
And
Which
no
it just
shit.
is going to be a little bit more, it's going to look like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then like a more traditional one. That's what I'm thinking.
I think it'll be interesting to see what decks we wind up with by the end of this.
Oh man.
So like with the history, I don't think that there was anything that I didn't know. I just haven't gotten it in like one fell swoop like this. Like I
Mhm.
just feel like I've always picked up bits and pieces. And this was like my first read where it just went through the full history.
Yeah, it's very comprehensive.
It was very comprehensive. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and that was the focus of chapter one, like just straight up history. I liked on chapter two, the focus being that everything is a sign. And that was the first time I've seen that level of detail about everything being a sign, where it's not
Yeah.
just the cards that you're looking at, but it's the way that the querent is interacting with you. It's the way that the cards sit on the table, like the way that they fell out of the tarot deck is important. Every single thing that happens during the reading, a sound that happened outside is a sign.
See, and I think that's another, for me, that's another like something that felt very affirming because I felt like that was the case, but I also felt a little bit crazy thinking that was the case. So it was nice to read it and like, no, that's actually what people, that's what people do. So that was
You're
kind of
like,
nice.
even this is a sign. It's a sign that
Yeah,
I'm right.
exactly. Yeah.
I do like walk a little bit of a line with that where like I think you can go through your whole life thinking like that everything is a sign. And I think
Yeah.
at some point you have to kind of like take it with a grain of salt and like figure out for yourself and trust your own intuition as to what is a
Right.
sign and what's not.
Well, and maybe
Like,
not what is, but maybe what you want to take at, what you want to
yeah,
keep as. Yeah.
I just kind of trust my intuition. If it feels like a sign, if it feels important,
For
then
you. Yeah.
yeah, then it is. But like, I have friends who will text me witchy questions and be like, "Oh my God, I found a dead bird outside my house in front of my front window. Like, what does it mean?" I'm like, "It means a bird flew into the glass. Like, didn't realize it was a window. Like, it's not,
Not
Yeah.
that serious.
you know what I mean? Like, I just think that there's a line with
Yeah.
that where some people can get too like, what does it mean? I'm like, but I do like the emphasis on the symbolic language. I've read a lot of good books on some of this, like especially when it comes to the figures and their body shape and how, like, especially when it comes to how to read court cards, because court cards can be so confusing. Like, I have a great book on that. Um, I'll grab it. It's right here. Like, this is just such a good book. It's called Tarot Court Card DNA by Yoav
Ooh, okay.
Ben-Dov.
Awesome.
I think it's self-published and it is, and it's got like very interesting formatting,
Mm.
but it's fantastic in terms of just like, I don't know, she's cool. I like that kind of symbolism in understanding court cards, and especially with an open reading and paying attention to the interaction between people, like
Mhm.
shows so much.
So I think that's where we started heading into with chapter four was really talking about the interaction between people and the body positions and even the body parts, which I had no idea that you could like read into that, which like when you read about the body part section where it's talking about the four legs, pelvis, chest, head, had you guys thought about that at all in your readings other than the gaze, like directional gaze?
Yeah.
Not until this. Mm-mm.
No.
No, I've read about that before.
You have?
Yeah.
So when you do your readings, had you ever implemented it before?
Well, I don't know that I'm like the way that I read, I feel like everything in my head is like there's a big data bank. Like it's like Akashic records or something like in there. And it all kind of like factors in when
Mm.
I'm reading rather than like if I'm reading for myself, I can stop and think about things in that kind of um more like tunneled in way, more specific way. But when I'm reading for someone else, it's just kind of like if it comes up, if I see it, if it's something about the feet resonates with the reading and the question, then I am paying attention to it. But it's not like that I'm not processing it in this like linear way of like, well, let me check the feet and the head and the pelvis. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
just like,
If it jumps out at you.
yeah, it all gets pulled together. But I think it's interesting to do readings and practice like looking at that in
There
particular.
was in Amelia's walkthrough, there was a court card that she had mentioned the feet. And I didn't really think anything of it when she said it. And then when I read the chapter and they talked about the body position, this guy, um, even though he's the King of Cups, she had talked about his feet pointing in, I think maybe pointing in different directions, and that it's green and that they're grounded, suggesting like stability and wealth and something like that. And I was thinking in my head, like, I probably would have never come to that conclusion because we're talking about the King of Cups. But now that I've read that part in the book, I'm like, okay, that makes sense of how we would get there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they talk a lot about that with different like when you start picking apart the RWS about
Mm,
like this foot is on the land, this foot is in the water, the Queen of Wands has her
that's
legs
true.
agape. You know what
That's
I
true.
mean? Like it's all there. It's
Yeah.
just
But
kind
I
of like
wonder,
I feel like this book pulls it all together
Mm.
in a way that's like very, very easy to understand.
do you feel like, I mean, and maybe this is a dumb question, maybe I should know this, but do you feel like RWS borrowed from Marseille as far as that concept of like directionality and all the tiny little details?
Well,
Or do you think that's just specific to tarot?
I think that like what okay, so why I keep coming back to like the way that this book told the history of the tarot is that instead of like looking at it that RWS borrowed from Marseille, it's like this is the evolution of tarot.
Hmm.
It's a
Yes.
living, moving thing that evolved over centuries. And nobody really knows the exact beginnings or why like the major arcana has stuck around. Like, what's the purpose of it? Like they
Hmm.
spent a lot of time talking about that in this book. And then the evolution of when people really started to like study this shit and broke off into these like different schools. And a lot of it's based on geographic location too, and like how things get passed and learned through history. Like you can follow that through the history of astrology about like it originated here, but then had to go underground and then still got studied in the Middle East and then came out. Like it's an evolution. And so you can see so much of the Marseille the influence in the RWS because the RWS evolved from these decks,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it really brings to mind Esther from Mindful Tarot's videos, where I watched some of her Marseille content, and one of the things she repeats many times is that tarot, there's just one tarot. Like you have RWS, you have Marseille, you have Thoth. We like to silo them into these three separate categories, but there's only one tarot, and they all are streams that like lead into the main river that is tarot.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
like that.
totally look at it like that.
Okay.
Something that I did go down a little bit of a sidebar rabbit hole with that I still haven't, I guess it's just kind of like there's different ways to look at things and study things, was with the numerology piece. They, in this book, talked about how when you're breaking down, like each number's meaning is also linked to corresponding meaning of the majors, right? Number 3 equals the Empress. And then the numbers 1 through 10 are considered the most significant, with higher numbers regarded as a repetition of the basic 10. Like basically that once you get over 10, everything reduces down to 10, right?
Mhm.
Like 12 reduces to 3 because 1 plus
Uh-huh.
and then it says that, like, an example of this is that the devil card, which is 15 in the tarot, is a more complex aspect of the Pope card, number
Yes,
5.
I thought that was interesting.
And I thought that was interesting because I have studied the devil as reducing to 6, the lovers, because 1 plus
Right.
5, not the Pope card, which is a 5. Like this
Hmm.
is
Yep.
basically saying you just take off the 1 and focus on the fact
True.
that it's still a 5 card,
Well, I think that
which
it's
makes sense.
it talks about it here where you have all the different ways that you can reduce it. So you have for 6, 2 times 3, 3 plus 3, 1 plus 2 plus 3. So I can see the confusion there.
And I'm not even like confused by it. I just look at it as like, okay, so yeah, you can do that. You can say a 15 is a 5, is still a 5, no matter what. And 5, because it's in 1 through 10, is potent, more potent than 15. But it was like, I was like, oh, well, what I learned was something called tarot constellations. Have you guys ever studied that?
No.
So I know it to be something taught by Mary K. Greer, but I don't know if it originated elsewhere. Because it's like something I've kind of looked at, but I know she has a whole entire book on it that I haven't read yet. But it's basically like what I was just saying, that there's groups of, so then I had to like go back and reread everything that I currently have read about tarot constellations and put that in my notes. So it's basically like this breakdown of that there's like, this is also how she determines how you should figure out your personality card and your soul card when you're adding up the numbers of your birthday, right? To figure out like your representative in the tarot deck. And it's just basically like these are the cards that together make up a tarot constellation. For instance, the constellation of the Magician also includes the Sun card because it's 19, which is 10, which then reduces to 1, and the Wheel of Fortune. So that those 3 cards are a constellation and have an interplay and a specific energy that they share between them. And then the High Priestess is in a constellation with Judgment and Justice, and so on, and go through the whole majors and their unique tarot constellation, which is in conflict with like just taking 15 and looking at 5. So I think that is something that intrigues me, because I'm not like a numerologist. I don't I kind of feel like you could look at it both ways and it would be an interesting experiment. But
Yeah.
in my head, I reduce them. I don't do what it says in this book.
So instead of 5 plus 1, you would just take it to a 5?
No, I would take it 5 plus 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I would do that too. Yeah, that's how I've done it.
6.
Yeah, I think that's the most straightforward way. And then we kind of skipped over chapter 3, which was the focus on the open reading. So I think chapter 3 might have been my favorite chapter and is one that I can see myself going back to multiple times just to like brush up on, I don't know, like sometimes it takes me reading something through a few times for it to really soak in. But I liked how he included so many different examples of how to do the open readings in that chapter. And then specifically for page 53, he wrote an example and let me just pull that up for you. 53. I didn't highlight anything, but I did write at the bottom, juicy.
Oh, about like the woman being pregnant with.
That's funny. I could see that.
I did like the way that they talked about reversals as like, I do think it's important information when a card comes up reversed in an open reading style, right? Because it looks different. It can change the whole flow between the cards.
My eyes kind of glazed over at the reversal section because I don't typically read reversals, and I was like, well, I'm not going to start now.
Okay, so these were the things I noted about that. To be read as the same factor working in the opposite direction, which is contrary to the querent's wishes or interests. The inversion stresses the less positive aspects of the card, like a shadow aspect of the card, which I think is kind of like a traditional reversal, or can indicate a point where the querent can improve their situation with resources they already have available. Like, I liked that. I thought that there was some good information on reversals that seemed a little bit new to me.
And then did we read? I didn't take any notes on chapter 5, apparently. Oh, that's because I was a really bad student, and apparently I didn't read chapter.
Oh no.
I read chapter 5, but I didn't get caught up on my notes for it yet. I'm not done transferring what I read.
Interesting. Oh, I thought I had finished our assignment. Interesting. Oh, wow. Fail. I failed.
Nah, you get like a B-.
I
Yeah.
liked the
All my notes make up for it.
there was something in talking about the world card in chapter 5 where they related it back to this in this odd shaped
Yeah.
oblong shape in the magician card that
Yeah.
looks like it could be a womb or like, a birth canal, which I could, as I read it, I was like, what are they talking about? And then I pulled, I flipped and I was like, oh, yeah, you can totally see that. And I love that idea of this cyclical nature because I've always kind of learned about the majors and thought of them like as a spiral, right? Like this very cyclical, non-linear, dancing, moving, intricate pattern of energy. And I like the idea that then the world just like gets rebirthed in the magician and it just starts the cycle all over again.
Yeah. I liked that too. I think I finished my reading this morning. It was like 10 or 15 pages this morning. And so I don't know the page, but yeah, it was saying like some people read it linearly in a straight line. And then other people just kind of, like you said, just that cyclical or, there's not necessarily a specific order to it when they do readings. And I was like, I like that better than the linear. That made more sense because I felt like the linear was too restrictive.
Yeah, I read it linearly, but almost like it's moving in a spiral, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big fan of the lines of the majors, like Rachel Pollack's the lines of the majors and the story of each one. So I always think about that. But I do think that the concept of the Fool being the gap, the space between each card and the majors, that impetus to then leap and shift and change like a catalyst. I don't know, I just kind of see it as more like spiralic in nature than, even though there's a linear story, it's happening in a way that like our time here doesn't play out in.
Right. It's funny that you brought up Rachel Pollack because that was the exact thing that I thought of when I read it. I was like, oh, which is funny because I can see her, I'm pretty sure she had it, drawn in the 78 degrees of wisdom. And so I can remember that and recall the concept of it, but I never really like grasped it very well. Like I don't know, it just didn't really click for me, but this one did, and it's on page 107. I said, we may also think that the very image of cards as fixed stations on a linear track is too restricted. Maybe it's better to see it as just one possible story among many. A richer image appears in the 1932 fantasy novel, goes on to say some other stuff. Amid all the dancing figures, only the Fool appears to be standing motionless, which also I thought was interesting. It said that whoever understands the meaning of this fact will decipher the great secret of the tarot. The secret as such isn't revealed in the book, but we can find a hint of it in the female characters, who is an enlightened person with an all-encompassing love. Only she sees the Fool constantly jumping to and fro. I just liked that. I liked that made more sense in my head than the way Rachel explained it.
Okay, so that pissed me off because I was like, what do you mean it's not revealed in this book? Like, what are you going to allude to something that now I'm going to be like looking at every like female card to be like, where's the hint? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe they've
like,
got a sense of humor, this author. He's like, so figure it out.
what are you talking about? Spill it. Yeah, I don't like that because then it just makes my brain like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? What's the secret then? You know?
Yeah.
And then
I,
the
I
part about
think
the
I like it because it opened for interpretation.
the part about the Hebrew letters like is something I can't get into. It's like,
Really?
yeah, like I just can't learn this and like the two systems of it. It's not my, at this point in time, is not my thing. And not to say that I don't, I think that the tree of life and the Kabbalistic overlay of the tarot is fascinating. And I've studied that a lot. But when it comes to like just the actual letters and their subsequent assignment between like the French school, the English school, I'm just like, I'm not doing that.
Did either of you put it together for your name?
No.
No.
I did. That was the last thing I did this morning. I was like, oh, I want to do that. I thought that was interesting because I'd never heard of that. I don't think I'll really incorporate it, but I thought it was an interesting little tidbit to latch onto and, you know, have in my back pocket.
Okay, so then
So
what would you do for your name?
yeah.
So mine was it's the S or the SH because there's not a exact translation between English letters and the Hebrew letters, so it's either S or SH, which is Shin, and this is the French tradition, which is judgment. And then A is Aleph, the fool. N is Nun, which is death. And then H is He for emperor. And I'm probably not saying these right, but we'll go with it. But if I do the English school of tarot, it puts the fool as the first, which did I not do this? Did I not write this down? Well, anyway, it switched it out a little bit. I don't know why
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
switches
put them
it.
both down. I thought I did, but yeah, I just thought that was cool. I was like, okay, I like anything that sort of associates tarot to me because I feel like it sort of makes it more personable when I'm using it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I just like that to me sounds very it reminds me of in astrology trying to decide if you which house system you want to use. And I'm just
yeah.
like, I'm not doing that with this. I'm not going
No,
there
thank you.
right now. Maybe someday. I'm noping out of that.
So I have to wrap up in about 10 minutes. So, um, do we want to chat a little bit about the practices or any like noteworthy things from actually working with the decks this week?
I just really liked it. I mean, I would say this is something that I wasn't sure I would continue using after the study, but I think I will.
Nice.
Um, when I did the interview, I thought it was interesting. It was a little bigger than I imagined it might be. And it called me out and said I was the tower.
I
So
was
I thought
wondering if
that,
it was you that was the tower. Yeah.
That was
yeah,
funny.
yeah. Which I was like, when I wrote it on Instagram, I was like, no, and then I was like, no, yeah, okay. So it was cool. I appreciated, it's sort of like forthrightness in the reading. So
Yeah. Yeah.
what about you? Did you do your interviews with it?
Yeah, I did. I just pulled 3 card spread and said, tell me about how it'll be working together. And so I did the interview for Tarot Days Ozarks during my walkthrough of that deck. So that's up on my channel if anyone wants to watch like the actual interview process. And then for Pipspeak, I just did it on my own. And then with FD Milano, because I'm staunchly not shuffling that I will do our interview at the end of the study when I actually start using that deck.
Oh, that's right. We're keeping
Yeah,
that one in
pristine.
yeah. I just did a bunch of 3 card readings just all throughout the past couple weeks. I find it to be like very clear reader.
Hmm.
Like I'm like, oh, like some were a little more challenging if they all came up as pips,
Yeah.
but even still, like I don't know. I think that I really like this. I was even like, oh, maybe I'm gonna be using a Marseille deck in my readings with clients. Um, like, should I try that? And I haven't yet. I'm sticking to RWS, but
It's a little early. Yeah.
yeah. But well, I mean, it's tarot deck too. It's like it's still just a tarot deck. Like you know what the Eight of Wands means. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm trying hard not to like pull up what I know that it means. Like I try to just ignore what pops up into my brain when I see that association.
Yeah, see, I don't ignore anything that pops up for me. I just like don't read that way. I just like it's all in there. It's all part of the system. So I'm sure that there's a lot more for me to learn about pips with the Marseille study, and I'm excited for that to keep layering on. But I can read a 3 card spread with 3 pips in it like now. I'm just saying like I can like it's there's one tarot, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's just one.
I like that.
Yeah,
I
but
think it's a good
I love
thinking.
it. I think it's beautiful too. I think the
Mhm.
cards are so gorgeous.
I honestly think that I think it's in some ways easier to read than RWS because I feel like RWS, there's so much like personalization with every single card versus Marseille, where it's just in the majors and the courts. I just think it really frees up the
Less
interpretation.
people. I'm always a fan of less people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, and somehow the taking away of the complexity in the pips doesn't just leave you with nothing to work with. And I think that was probably one of my fears all along with Marseille is like, okay, you do end up with a 3 card reading that's just pips. Like, what are you going to do? And now that I've read however far into this book and watched some of those videos, like, I don't have that fear anymore. And I just really, really like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still just like a tarot card,
Yeah.
And it does still show you a lot.
Mhm.
Like, you can still see a lot in the imagery. Um,
And I
which
think
is
that was kind of the key, just realizing what exactly it was we were seeing versus just, a couple of crossed wands with some flowers.
Right. Yes. Yes.
yeah, like wait, I have a good example of this. Like I got this in a reading and I felt like there's so much you can take away from this
Yeah. Yeah.
imagery, right?
Oh
100%.
yeah. Hold on. Hold that up. Oh, I love that.
Like
Interesting. Yeah.
there's still so much to see in these cards, even though they're pips,
Yeah.
you know? So it's like I don't know. I think that it's still very rich in symbolism, even though it's not your traditional, minor scenes of the RWS like that.
Mhm.
Mm. Well, I would call weeks 1 and 2 a success. I think we're all still very much enjoying, like, you can get really excited about a study before you do it. And then as soon as you start into it, you're like, oh, this is going to be a slog for however long I've agreed to this. But I don't feel that way. Like, I still
I
feel,
don't either.
yeah, a high level of excitement. And the more that I read, the more excited I get. So I, I'm happy to report that because 18 weeks is a long time if you're like not enjoying this.
Yes. Agreed. I'm still 100% invested for anyone who's worried.
Yay. That's really good
Yeah.
to hear.
I mean, I just like studying things. So like
Yeah.
and pace myself and I don't usually uh yeah, like I don't usually feel like it gets like sluggish typically.
Mm.
I do have a
Well,
question about, so next week we jump around a little bit. So we do chapter 7, which is,
Oh, 7 and 10.
yeah, what's 7? 7.
I was
So we
going to ask
talk
you about
about,
that.
all right, so we go from the minor suits to chapter 10, which is minor suits, the number cards. And then we're going back to the majors.
so I think that I did that because I wanted the overview of the minors so that while we were reading in general, doing readings that involved some of the minors, that we weren't like totally like baseless in how we were reading. So like a little tidbit about the minors and then focusing on back onto the majors.
I just worry for like this is like a me thing. Um, because like when I am studying something, like I am very kind of like linear with it, where I just want like all of the pieces. And even like when I'm taking notes, like I want it to kind of like have a flow. Are we going to be missing out on anything by doing that? Like, is there, you know what I mean? If we're not reading it sequentially, the book, I guess it's just my question.
No, like I feel like when I was in school, they would jump around to different chapters on what we needed to focus on.
I think, Erin, if you look at the table of contents, it might make more sense in your head because I just popped mine. I was like, okay. So it shows it's more, boxed in, like what it is exactly that we're
That's
doing.
helpful.
So that helped me anyway.
Yeah, that does help me. All
Because then
right.
I'm like, okay, I can see
Okay.
eight, chapter 8 is just the aces. So yeah, I can set
Okay,
that
so
to
we're
the
just like
side.
we're skipping over the aces and the courts. We're focusing on the minors, and then we're going back to the majors. Got it.
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah, it's just to get that overview so that that part is read and done. And because we're not delving into those number cards until we hit chapter 10.
Yeah, because chapter 10 goes through all of the minors, except for the aces and the courts.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So you get all of your minors done, and then you're starting on to the majors. And then all that's left is aces and courts.
Okay, cool.
And then that just reminded me, keep in mind in regards to the syllabus, we have been adjusting and changing things as we go along, and we discovered new practices that we want to add on. So consider the syllabus to be a living document. So if you did print it out, just keep in mind that there could be changes, and you're probably better off just like refreshing the syllabus online than like having it in paper form because it might change.
Or if you do like to print it, just, write on it.
Yeah.
So,
I like to print.
yeah.
Perfectionist. I'm like, oh, I don't want my handwriting on it.
I'm kind of the same too, but I find
Yeah.
that during the practice, I don't want to log into Google to start,
Yes.
whatever it is I'm doing that moment. So however it works for
Agreed.
you guys, yeah.
Yeah, I need to kind of like have it as a tangible thing.
Hopefully it's not too many. Like we just added a couple of things, so it wasn't a huge overhaul. All right, so we will get started with weeks 3 and 4, and we'll check back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, so the next video will come out at the very beginning of February.
Perfect.
Cool.
Okay. All right,
And
thanks, guys. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, feel free to comment below on your experiences with following along with the Marseille, anything that really jumped out at you, or your experiences with your own practice readings. We'd love to hear about it.
All right, thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Talk to you later.